Our conference today was opened by the DG of UNESCO, Irina Bokova, and I'm glad to say that the Assistant DG of UNESCO, Wendy Watson-Wright, who's also Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO, is going to close it for us on her behalf. Wendy.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished President of the International Council for Science, distinguished directors of the 4 global environmental programs, co-organizers of the conference, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Director General of UNESCO, Madame Irina Bokova, it truly is an honor to speak during the closing session of this conference. It is a steep challenge to draw conclusions from 4 days of rich debate, discussion, and the sharing of solutions for the sustainability of our planet. The debate has highlighted the scientific and governance challenges we face today, and which must be addressed at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio this June. In this period of change and challenge, UNESCO endorses fully the declaration from this conference. Sustainability must be the foundation for human development. It must provide the compass direction for our increasingly interconnected and interdependent global economic, social, and environmental systems. Promoting science for sustainable development and peace building lies at the heart of this vision. UNESCO's contribution is long-standing, and it is taken forward through a rich array of institutions and platforms, including the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, the International Hydrological Program, our International Geoscience Program, our Program on Man and the Biosphere, and the UNESCO IHE Institute for Water Education. The scientific community has a vital responsibility to understand better the challenges facing humanity and to explore solutions for a more sustainable world. One of these challenges is to strengthen the resilience of socio-ecological systems for the benefit of all societies and the biosphere itself. For this, we need to involve both citizens and governance. We need flexible new forms of multi-level governance. We need deeper cooperation among international organizations, government and non-government actors to secure institutional and economic support for learning as a strategy to deal with complex interactions and difficult decisions. We must move sustainable development from a concept to a practice incorporated into national and international economic policy debates and integrated into mainstream policy. Sustainability is not an option. Natural resources can no longer be seen as input for economic growth, forgetting the rich ecosystem services they provide. Sustainable development, biodiversity, and environmental issues must be priorities. Especially at a time of economic crisis, they must be integral parts of all economic decisions. The economic and financial crisis is a call to action to change our ways, the way we consume, the way we produce, the way we interact with our planet. This requires finding the right language to reach out to everyone. It means building on strong human values, on specific cultural contexts, on scientific evidence, and on local knowledge. This is UNESCO's message. This has also been a key message of this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the report of the UN Secretary General's high-level panel on global sustainability is clear, and I quote, "The time is ripe for broader and bolder intergovernmental efforts to strengthen the interface between science and policy and to define through science the economic, social, and environmental consequences of decisions," end quote. This calls for new research and also a new approach to research. As we have heard here, research into global sustainability must cross disciplinary boundaries and bring them together. in order to understand socio-ecological processes and dynamics and to provide relevant knowledge and scientific evidence. We need a more comprehensive, a more interdisciplinary, and a more robust science. This science must incorporate a better understanding of the ecosystem's role in climate change. It must forecast more accurately the magnitude and the intensity of change at multiple scales, and it must evaluate options for mitigation and adaptation. We have today a number of international scientific programs that provide relevant data and knowledge to implement international reporting processes and conventions, and I would refer here to two of them, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and the Convention for Biological Diversity. Our global work must be stepped up across the board to improve our capacity to act. In this respect, I wish to underline that UNESCO has been an active player in global environmental change science and programs, and that our organization is committed to deepening its contribution. The stakes are high. Over the next 10 years, the global scientific community must provide governments and societies with the knowledge necessary to assess the risks from global environmental change, as well as the options for sustainability. Our challenge is to transform socio-ecological systems so they can provide food, water, energy, and health and well-being in a sustainable manner, now and in the future and around the world. There are many examples of ideas migrating from the scientific and technical worlds to the policy world. Take, for instance, the concepts of ecosystem-based approaches or integrated coastal zone management. But ideas need to do more than just migrate. They must be invested with resources, and they must be implemented with determination. UNESCO will continue to play a strong role in building and sharing knowledge and in supporting the dialogue that is necessary, including through our networks of scientific experts, researchers, and educators, and through our networks of schools, UNESCO chairs, and partners. UNESCO is the custodian of normative instruments that are vital for protecting our natural and cultural heritage and its diversity. The organization has strongly supported the establishment of the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, or IPBES. This is a vital bridging institution to reach out to policymakers, to generate new knowledge, and to build capacity. UNESCO is honored to have been identified as one of the institutional co-hosts of the IPBES, and we will continue to work with the biodiversity research community together with ICSU and other partners. As well, we will explore new partnerships to bridge biodiversity research with the needs and aspirations of all stakeholders concerned with biodiversity. We know there are no single one-size-fits-all solutions. Solutions must be multiple and flexible. They must be adaptive and robust. As Elinor Ostrom said during the opening session of the conference, multiple and flexible approaches need to exist that can fit local circumstances and adapt to changes in resource conditions and threats to them over time if long-term sustainability is to be achieved. This must be a guiding rule for the Anthropocene epoch in which we live. This calls on us to join efforts to support transformation and to mobilize behind the diversity of paths of development. UNESCO will play its part by improving access to scientific expertise, by building capacity for scientific research, including with young people, and by promoting a constructive dialogue between decision makers and the general public. In this respect, as we heard this morning, at the request of the UN Secretary General, our Director General of UNESCO will convene an ad hoc group of senior UN system officials and representatives of major scientific bodies to carry forward the recommendations of the high-level panel on global sustainability to strengthen the interface between science and policy. This is especially important for Rio+20 and its follow-up. And again, as we heard earlier, this will be complemented by a new ocean compact as being elaborated by the UN Secretary General to promote oceans as healthy, productive, and resilient systems to ensure human well-being and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 years ago, a 12-year-old girl named Severn Suzuki took the floor at the Rio conference and silenced the world for 5 minutes. Severn Suzuki, in her appeal to all, challenged the world's leaders to make their actions reflect their words. The appeal still rings true today. Let us make our actions reflect our words. This is UNESCO's commitment and the message we will bring to Rio+20. Rio+20 must succeed. Let all of us here today and listening from afar do everything in our power to ensure that it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy, for that very powerful closing address. Thank you. We appreciate the endorsement.